Hi, James.
Wow, friendly fans, I am back, and boy, oh boy, do I have a fucking interview for you today. I have the whole band with me right now. I have Tyr, I have Tad.
Hey guys, how's it going? This is Tad.
Tad's the master blaster of the band. I have the newest member and maybe the youngest member, Hans Hammer. Hello, Hans, how you doing?
Hey guys, and thank you for having us and me.
It is my pleasure. And I also have the most handsome man of the band, Gunnar.
How are you all doing out there, huh?
You know, Gunnar, I'm going to have so many single ladies message me after that pose, you know, that, and I got to just weed them out for you, you know? And I have the leader of the band, Harry Johnson. Hello, Harry.
Hello, how are you? How are you?
So, and I also got my buddy Joe from Concrete Spoon. Joe and I teamed up again. Hello, Joe.
Greetings and hails.
Now, you guys have been really busy this year, and you guys have a really busy year coming up. You guys are announcing shows like crazy. You guys are going to be playing in North America soon. You got a new album coming out. You just released your newest song, Axes. The video is fantastic. I just have one minor problem, Tad. I'm sorry, I won't go through it again. But, you know, I still think Gunnar should have put up a fight. That's all. Yeah.
You would have lost.
I was thinking the same thing, Gunnar. Go ahead.
He
Tad.
didn't write the screenplay, you know. It was like, yeah, Tad should survive. Okay, then Gunnar just has to, you know, drop all his weapons. Because
Yeah.
I would have gotten ugly and bloody. Well, I got bloody.
It certainly did.
Well, Tad, I thought Gunnar just ate a really bad turkey leg, and he had a stomach flu. He just didn't want to fight. You know, he was like, "Oh man,
maybe he was
beer and turkey."
It's a Tuesday. I'm not gonna take it.
It's like, honestly, though, your new song "Axis" is awesome. I listen to it every morning to cook my breakfast. It's catchy as hell. I cannot wait to hear it live. And you guys are truly masters at your craft, each and every one of you. But it's so rare to see a singer here doing solos with Hans. You know what I mean? Usually the singers are rhythm guitar players, but you're doing the solos. You both do everything. It's so awesome to see that. How have the response has been since the video has been released?
Mostly overwhelmingly positive. I've seen 2 or 3 less positive comments.
That's from me.
Yeah, I would say overwhelmingly positive. Let's leave it at that.
All right, so about the video, it looked very cold. Tad, did you get sick on, like, because, you know, the whole time you're not wearing a shirt. And by the way, I wanted to make a comment. Your belt buckle was pretty shining. And I was like, yeah, Vikings had nice belt buckles back then, you know? It really took my attention.
Very advanced people.
When you did the pose holding the axes, that shininess of your belt buckle, I'm like, hey, Vikings had great pants too. You know, they can wear good denims.
To be honest, yeah, it might not be the most authentic of Viking videos, but hey, you know, this was we didn't really have that much time to pull it together, but I think the result is pretty nice. So, you know, it was cool. And also, I have to remind you, this is just in my civilian life, I'm a translator, and right now I'm translating an archaeological grave catalog from the 9th and 10th century from the Carpathian Basin, and there are many, many belt buckles. Well, not buckles as such, but belts have been in almost all the graves. So it's almost authentic.
He could have bought it at a market connected to Carpathian Basin. Who knows?
Yeah, there was a lot of what I would call at least very beautiful footage, and I'm assuming those are probably taken with drones or some sort of flying devices or something like that. But despite that, though, what you looked like you guys were having fun in the video, but I'd like to know, was that true, or was it like a painstaking kind of experience? James mentioned before, it was probably very cold. You had your shirts off and stuff. Looking back, I mean, overall, was it fun, or was it just a real, pain in the ass?
I would say it was a lot of fun, definitely. It's not an island that's that easy to visit. We got permission to go there. It's like a restored ancient village. People lived there until the mid 1990s, and it's now more of a museum and a research station. But it looks as houses would have looked for hundreds of years. It was freezing. One of the houses is very nice on the inside. We had access to that. It's warm inside. There's a bathroom. It's all made of beautiful wood. But it's perfectly modern. There's hot water and electricity and everything. So we were mostly in there keeping warm. The cameraman was extremely well dressed for the shoots, but you have a lot of fun also doing the fight scenes and everything until you're absolutely freezing your ass off, which takes maybe 3 minutes. So you go out and do your stuff, do your scene, do your acts and moves and whatever, and then you just want to get the hell back inside as soon as possible. It's still fun. There's no denying that.
Wow. Hans, what do you remember from the shoot?
Unfortunately, I seem to only remember how fucking cold it was. I got very sick afterwards too. Was sick for maybe a week after the shoot, so that was not fun. But yeah, when looking back, I just just remember how cold it was.
So Ted, when you guys are going over the list of who dies first, you're like, I will die first, and then you guys can go freeze your ass off. I'm
Get me the fuck out of here.
What was that process like? How did you decide who would die first?
Honestly, I think the director told us who's gonna live and who's gonna die, and in what.
Yeah.
Right? That was Gaius.
It was mostly his ideas. Yeah.
Yeah. So he was the man. We're doing the music. He's doing the visuals. So he had like more or less the last word, and he had the say in it. So we were just asking, okay, dude, just tell us where to stand, whom to hit, whom to kill first and last.
Yeah.
I guess I was lucky in that regard because I got to die first.
My brother, they are family.
So I could stay in the longest.
Now, Ted, did you bring it? I hope you brought extra shirts with you, because after Gunnar ripped the shirt off, you're like, fuck, that's my only shirt.
It's raining men. Hallelujah, it's raining men.
That was my favorite shirt. Yeah, that bastard. No, it was. We had some to switch.
It was a very nice fabric. I loved it.
You looked like you were pretty excited as you ripped it up. I really want to know what shirt it was, because I could see like some of the drawings under his shirt. I'm like, is that like an Accept t-shirt or something? Like, is it a band that Gunnar hates, like Disturbed, or like? So yeah, how dare you wear a Drowning Pool shirt on set? Oh, no, bodies are gonna hit this floor. All right, so Gunnar, what do you remember about the shoot?
Well, that whole week was pretty damn cold. There's a lot of things. I mean, the most exciting thing was actually traveling out to the island, because we got to take a ride on an insanely fast speedboat. which is actually built here in the Faroe Islands by a company here in the Faroe Islands. That was fun, lots of fun.
Oh yeah.
And just seeing the island was very nice. Because I can't remember. I've been out there before. I think maybe I was at the dock once, but that's it. And interesting to see, and a very beautiful place, but yet again extremely cold. And the whole experience of doing the video is basically just the director telling you, you have to do this and this and this. And when he came to, and then you put your sword down, I was kind of like, huh? Well, okay, whatever you say. Because I thought I was going to put up a fight, but just put my sword down. I don't know who does that, but I did.
Here, so your fight scene, how long did that take to film? Because your face was full of blood and Tad was shirtless the whole time. Props to you, Tad. Holy shit, man.
I would say it took maybe 5 minutes. The biggest issue was that the fake blood froze, and it was difficult to disperse on your body and on your face. It came out in icicles, you know. But we made it, and the fighting was, you know, the director's just standing there. I said, "Yeah, okay, we got it," and fight. You know, we're not expert swordsmen or even used to reenactment of any kind. Yeah, okay, we just went for it. So with the close-ups, you know, you kind of the close-up angles, it kind of looks a bit more realistic. But if you saw it properly from a distance, I'm sure we would have looked somewhat clumsy to people who know what they're doing with a sword. It was fun. It got pretty hectic and intense, but that's the way Tadeusz and I like it. It was fun, great fun.
How about this, Hans? Were you happy with the outcome of the video? Like, were you like, that's a badass video? Or were you like, I wish I would have played my death a little bit more serious?
Looking back, I wish we had made a bit of a better story for it, at least. Kind of, for example, the scene with Gunnar's death, it doesn't really make sense that he just puts down his sword. And it doesn't really make sense that Tad just kills everyone for ripping his shirt. So in that regard, maybe there could have been put a bit more effort into the plot.
Ted, what about you? Were you happy? I mean, Ted, you're the protagonist. You're in the every shot. Were you happy of how it came out?
Basically, I was, but I have to agree here with Hans. I mean, if we would have had a little bit more time, and yeah, so to explain the story a bit more, because I don't think it's so obvious that it basically my character, he's a lunatic. I mean, you can just see in the end when he's sitting at the fire and, you know, talking to himself and getting the you know, the loony eyes. That should somewhat explain why the hell he would kill several people just for being, you know, thrown out of the village, you know. So he's actually a psycho. That was more or less the story of the whole thing, that he just got, you know, at the wrong time at the wrong place, you know, and he just couldn't handle it.
I guess the moral of the story is, if you're gonna mess with psychos, then kill them first.
Tiptoe through the window, by the window, that is where I'll be. Come tiptoe through the tulips with me.
Yes.
Gunnar, what about you? Is there anything you would have changed? By the way, Gunnar, great sword skill. When you threw the sword in the ground, you actually got it to stand. That was really good.
I'm a mean motherfucker.
Yeah, I watch that video every morning for my breakfast, and when Gunnar throws that sword down, he means business. You know, he's like, hey, like, did you? How many takes did that take you, Gunnar, to get the sword to stick in the ground?
How about one take?
I believe you can get me through the night.
That's why you're a badass, Gunnar. This is why you're my favorite member of the band. You know what I mean? Shit.
To be honest, I think actually we did the take 3 times, but I got it to stick every time.
Yeah, the sword
real
move was
badass.
correct every time. Yeah,
Yeah.
but we did this whole scene a few times.
So Gunnar,
I
is there anything you would have changed about the video itself?
Oh, so many things, but oh, yes, it's the story again. For example,
The turkey leg?
I was there's just bits of bit. Overall, I have to say it turned out great for what it was, because this is very hasty. The whole thing, you basically just meet up, go out to the island, and you do whatever the guy says, and you have no clue what's going on. I mean, so you just basically do what they tell you. But I would definitely change the my scene where I just put down the sword,
100%.
and also where I get killed. I would probably edit it that bit a little bit more perfectly, and also where Hans get killed, that could be a little bit more shocking. Um, but the fight scene I thought was really, really good for what it was. I love when they start out with a big hug and then they start fighting.
I think the video is really well done. The first thing I noticed was I'm assuming whoever's doing the editing in whatever program that they used, the exposures like down, so you already feel a sense of like uneasiness, and then the pacing I think is really good too, especially. Again, this goes back to the editing, but when the like the swords are like making contact with like hearts, they cut right. They seem to like cut right at the moment. So you almost like, if you as a viewer, you feel it. It's like you feel it and you think like, oh shit, that type of thing. Like, ow, So I thought it was really well done. And like when you guys brought up the story, how the story might change, there were so one thing in particular that I maybe didn't get, but it didn't matter to me that I didn't get it, because I thought that was kind of the point. It was things that were above my level of understanding, and it added a level of complexity that I think matched the complexity of the song as well. Credit to the director, the actors, the cinematographers, all that.
The photography in general is pretty damn good, I must say myself. Good quality.
Guy, he's an Icelander, and his specialty is landscape photography, which he's extremely good at. His specialty is not metal videos, and it's a bit mismatched in a way. We spent months, years on the music, and then we spent one day on the video. We did 3 videos, 3 days in a row with a very low budget, and 3 hours of daylight every day in the middle of or start of December, something like that.
Yeah.
It was very hectic, and for the work we put in it, what we got out is very good. But I have to agree with my bandmates. We should spend more money and more time on it, and then we would be more satisfied. But all credit to the director for what we had time for and money for. There we got our money's worth, certainly.
So you guys are now 9 studio albums in, with a majority of them being on 2 very well-known labels, those being Napalm and also Metal Blade. So that leaves me wondering, are you at a point in your career where you feel any sort of pressure at all to write a certain type or style that you think the fan base might be expecting, or are you still just very much as real and raw as you were on, for example, How Far to Asgard?
This is not like How Far to Asgard. That album was I would not make that album today. I might actually never make such an album again. It was the first one. You learn so much making the first album. So when you kind of hear it again after it has been out for months or years, you realize that you get some insight into songwriting and production simply by making an album, putting it through the machinery, and hearing it again on the other side. And you think, oh shit, that's not what I meant to do. Then you kind of get a first-hand experience in what it's like to make music, and have a picture of what it's going to be like when it's done, because that's not really that easy to keep track of when you're not used to making albums. So I would start with the second album, Eric the Red. That was something we were much more, I at least was much more satisfied with. As for pleasing the fans, you know, if you want to be a professional musician, you have to keep in mind that someone's going to listen to this and they're going to like it. That doesn't mean you sell out in any way, but you kind of have to keep things interesting, concise, and more straight to the point than we have done on some albums. Take, for example, Ragnarok or Land. It's very demanding. You're asking a lot of people. You're asking a lot of people to go through those albums. You have to be patient. They have to be willing to you know, spend the time on it and go over it probably several times before it sinks in properly. This music is arguably easier to understand, but it all starts from ideas and melodies that we ourselves really think are good music. We all made some music on this album, and you know, you come up with a piece of music and you want to release it because you like it yourself. You think it's worth listening to, and that's what it's always going to be like. That's the reason we're still in this, is because we really love the music, and we want to release music that we at least like, and we think people might have some benefits in experiencing.
Here, I want to add on to it because one of my good friends, one of my best friends in Chicago, is one of your biggest fans. I'm going to call him out. I'm not going to name him. I'm going to call him out. He loves the first 4 albums. And when I talked to him about, you know, Hold the Heathen Hammer High, he's like, it's not my favorite. I like the older stuff. I like the older stuff. So he's actually one of those fans that you're kind of describing right now. Like, he prefers the older stuff, which what you're saying though is you need to widen your audience though. You can't just keep catering to the people who like a certain style of music, or else you're not going to go anywhere.
The reason we're still in this is because we really, really love the music, and not our music in general, metal in general. Gunnar and I have been together in this since our teens, and I believe we shall be until we drop.
I certainly hope
look,
so.
There are people who have the patience to like the older albums, and of course there are. I appreciate that greatly. It's just not a number of people that you can build a career on, and that's a simple fact. So if you want to become a professional, if you're insanely talented, like I said, which as for me certainly I'm not, then you could probably make anything, and with some discipline you could make a nice career of it. But what I've seen is if we want to make if you have to think financially as well, because even though the reason you start a band has nothing to do with a financial vision, absolutely nothing. The reality just hits you. You have bills to pay, and you have to make music that you can sell to more people. And you can do that without selling out or cheapening your product, I believe we have done. And that's just one consideration you have to have when you write music here. That's all.
I would like to ask that, add that on the other hand, we didn't sit down and, you know, discussed whom to reach with this new album. You know, there was no intention like, okay, we have to open up towards that niche or towards that genre within metal. You know, it was just like, I mean, I'm in the band for 8 years now, so I did the previous album and this one, so I'm only on 2 albums so far, and I see a huge difference, you know, between Battle Ballads and Hell. But this difference has, in my opinion, nothing to do with getting more commercial or to trying to cater to more people's needs. It's just that these songs we wrote, all the 4 of us here now, we wrote together. We did the writing process together. So it was, and somehow the songs just became, well, in my opinion, more straightforward, like really energetic, shorter, and in my opinion, more classic heavy metal than, for example, Hell. Because Hell had a very progressive vibe to it. Longer songs and
Yeah.
really interesting changes and this is not going to happen on this album. So this is, who everybody who's into classic heavy metal, I think is gonna love this album.
My only conscious decision for this album was to not test people's patience. That was all. The rest is, yeah, just trying to make the best music possible.
Yeah, no. I think actually we consciously have tried to reach a broader audience, definitely, to do a little bit more straighter songs. Me personally, I love the old stuff because I love very progressive stuff because it's so fun to play. 'Cause it's very complicated and it's really a challenge. It's really fun, but this new stuff we have right now, this reminds me of so many things, Iron Maiden and so on. This is a bit more straightforward, exciting.
And you mentioned Yngwie on Facebook Live, that when you wrote Axis, you were taking inspiration from Yngwie Malmsteen.
Yeah, definitely. I am at home. I do write a lot of stuff on guitar, although I'm a lousy guitar player. But I find many inspirations here and there, and for example, this Yngwie stuff. It was just the way he did some things. I just like that kind of sound, so I was trying to approach that sound, and it turned out quite well, actually. So that's cool. I mean, that's where when you make music, you don't pick music up from an empty space. You actually have things in your library that you take it out of. So.
Hans, what about you? How was your experience recording the new album, Battle Ballads? Did you have any issues, or was everything run smoothly?
Here will confirm this. Everything I did on the album was one take.
Jesus. See, what, Joe? Yes. What did I tell you? These guys are fucking pros, man. They're the king of their craft.
One
man.
gigantic take.
How many days were you in the studio then, Hans?
Oh, it's hard to say. I think I stayed a week at the Hero's place recording guitar solos last year, in the beginning of last year.
Yeah, maybe 5 days.
Yeah, and then we had like one day, I don't remember, after summer sometime.
Yeah,
it was right before the album was done, recorded. I came by one day, and of course when we did choirs, so yeah, that was 2 days. We were all together recording. It's the first album that I play partially on, and they were pretty far already in the songwriting process of this album when I joined. What I immediately really liked about the songs on this album, as a fan of the band pretty much my whole life, my favorite albums were always By the Light of Northern Star and The Lay of Trim, because I felt they were a little bit more straight to the point metal songs, compared to, I know many people like the more progressive stuff. That's what I think this album kind of is like. It doesn't really, it's not like any of those two albums, but in a way where the songs are very straight to the point. There's most of the time a very catchy melody, and very well arranged and composed by her, extremely, like everything flows very nicely. So yeah, that's what I really like about this new album. And of course also I feel like the orchestral and symphonic elements that are on this whole album are adding a new like flavor into music, which is very familiar. You know immediately that it is Tyr music, but it just gives it some extra depth, which is very refreshing.
Okay, so Hans, when you entered the band and then you said the writing process was pretty much almost done, did you have any input in the new album? Like, did you have any
Well,
ideas that you want to bring to the table?
yeah, so I partially wrote one song on the album with Tyr, and then I just some solos on the other songs.
Tab, what was your experience like recording this album and Hell? Which one was better for you?
I enjoyed both recording sessions very much. Hell was recorded at Jacob Hansen's studio in Ribe in Denmark, and Battle Ballads was recorded close to Prague in Czechia. So both studios were very, very professional, and I mean the whole ambiente was just great, you know, to work throughout the day. I don't know. I mean, like I said, especially these two albums, I think are pretty far away from each other in terms of, you know, in terms of dynamics and song progression. They were both quite tricky. I mean, there were some songs, you know, where I really had to go at it again and again, but they sounded amazing already there, you know, just the raw recordings. And I think we needed for both 3 days each, or 4. No, well, I think it was three days. So that's, you know, that's the usual amount of time I need for an album. Sometimes it's 2 days is enough, but you know, Tyr is a bit more complex than that. So yeah, it was really fun, and I like it when the whole band is there. Well, in the case of Hell, only Hera joined me for a few days, but in Prague we had Gunnar there as well. So, you know, the more the merrier, so to say. But I would like to have the next album recorded as so that the whole band is there for the whole process, because, you know, the input, the feedback you're getting from your bandmates is very valuable in that process, during that process.
Gunnar, what about you? How was your experience recording Battle Ballads?
This album is a little bit tricky because all the basses have been done on various occasions. So when one number was done, we did a bass track at Hera's place. We did a bass track at his mother's place, actually. And some have been done in a studio in where Hera actually is sitting right now. And we even did some bass tracks at Hans's place where he's sitting right now. So it was a little bit all over the bass tracks. But that was because the songs, you know, as they got done, we did the bass tracks, and as the arrangements fell into place, we did the bass tracks.
Now, Gunnar, Tab was mentioning that he wishes that everybody would be together because hearing the feedback from the bandmates. So would you send like a bass tracks to them, and then Hera would say like, "Hey, good job," or how would you guys feedback with each other during the process of the new album?
Typically, me and Hera, we sit down and do the bass tracks, and then we kind of decide on what is going to happen with the bass tracks. So we kind of go over the bass tracks together and find the best bass lines for that track. And I'm when I do bass tracks, I'm very simple focused on if I have to play very simple for the sake of the music, I'll do that. I'll play very simple for the sake of music. I'm not the kind of guy who who wants to fill all kinds of stuff into because I want to do something. I believe very much in the whole song. So if I need to leave room, I do that. So sometimes bass lines are quite straightforward, nothing special. Other times, not so much. It's very, very, very complicated to even play. And you have to remember, I have to sing much of that stuff at the same time, so that makes it even harder.
Man. And Harry, what about you? The new album. What was the process like for you with the new album?
This was a very long one, interrupted by me moving twice. That slowed down the process, and making since the last album, Hill, I also made a completely different album with another band, which also interrupted this one. One or two songs on this album are at least 5 years old. They were around by the time we made the last album. They just didn't make it to that album. It was already quite a full and long album. And I've been working on these ideas off and on in the 5 years in between these two albums, and quite late in the process, I think Gunnar provided me with one of his song ideas. I got one from Hans and one from Thaddeus, and they're all on here. And yeah, my job has been just to make them into songs the way I like to arrange music. And the first thing I do is make a basic drum track. I don't really write the drums. I write extremely basic drums. Thaddeus makes it to to real drums. And like Gunnar said, Gunnar and I sit down and go over the bass line. Gunnar has a lot of ideas. We put them in. And the last thing we did for this one was Hans's solos. How he brings his own solo ideas. I think there are 5 or 6 of Hans's solos on here, which turned out extremely good, I might say. So it's just a very long process, which is, unfortunately for this one, again, has been hard to find time for. And I'm going to do everything in my power to not have the next album take the same amount of time. Especially if we're all here in the same country for it. I think we have the circumstance to work a bit more effectively on the next album.
What about lyrics? How do you get inspiration for writing lyrics? Do you watch like Braveheart every day or something? Like, do you binge watch like Viking movies?
Body's working overtime. It's man against man. And all that matters is that you're playing with the boys, staying with the boys, chasing the sunsets. One of life's simple joys is playing with the boys.
Like,
I know Braveheart by heart backwards by now. No, just kidding. Well, take for example Hammered. So Hans has a song idea, and it has a working time. The very last thing we make is the lyrics. So while I'm working on the music, I just call the song Hammer because Hans made it. When time comes to make the lyrics, I think, okay, I don't have any idea up front, so let's just go with Hammer. What can we do with that? So we wrote a song from the maybe from the point of view of a blacksmith forging weapons in medieval times, and kind of fabulate out from that about war, what it does to people, etc. And for some of the lyrics, Thaddeus was helping me, which made everything go a lot faster, and I'm sure got us around to some subjects and phrases that I definitely wouldn't have found on my own. There are 2 songs here with traditional lyrics, Torstensdóttir and Velkomna Føringar, where I'm simply selecting some verses from much longer songs in Faroese, so that's pretty easy. Battle Ballad was the first song I wrote. I had the idea, the melodic idea, and the lyrical idea years and years ago. Might have been around the time we released the last album. So either I have some philosophical idea that I want to write about, and I have the title and maybe some specific phrases, or I have nothing and I go from the working title if it leads to anything. With specifically the song Axis and the song Hammered, that's how we did it. So I'm not sure how we came to the working title Axis. Axis race time. But once time comes to write the lyrics, Thaddeus and I sat down and said, yeah, Axis, what have we got? What's the feeling of the song? Where can we take it? And we just sit down and start brainstorming. You know, at least you have some small idea to start with, and that one thing leads to another. The worst thing is to be staring at a blank paper. Anything you can have to lead your thoughts or kind of box in your ideas is helpful, and for those songs the ideas came from the working title. So many different ways, they all kind of lead to the same kind of output in the end.
Take Row, for example. I mean that for example is a story we heard from a friend here from the Faroe Islands about somebody. I'm not gonna tell you what the song is about, but the story behind the lyrics of Row is actually from the Faroe Islands. So this actually, the basic story actually happened in real life, or so the story goes. So you know, and we just started talking about that, how nice it would be to, you know, remember that story and then to just work around it. And also the song has, you know, a very catchy yet dramatic build to it, so it works well.
The same with Hangman. There was a story that has been fascinating me for a long time, and I heard it from a woman who was a teacher when I was a kid, and then later I saw the same kind of story, only much more expanded in Faroese scientific magazine, and we did you help me with that one, Thaddeus, or did I?
Hangman, no.
No. So I just imagine you were there in medieval times and in the setting that the story tells. So and Causa Latronum Normanorum, the last song, yeah, there's a lot of historical influence, let's say, put it like that, to the lyrics in this album in several songs.
I was just wondering, is it fair to say that maybe Axis is a good indicator of, you know, what the rest of the album, you know, we might be able to expect?
I would say so. It's probably one of the most straightforward, most aggressive, least progressive songs, but the other ones are not much more progressive. Some other songs are a bit more mellow, not as metal goes, you know, not mellow in general, but it's probably the most hectic and intense song on the album.
What I think is one of the things I think is really cool about it is that, like, I was not expecting the part, like 3/4 of the way into it, Ted, when you start blasting, I was not expecting that to happen, but you do, and it's like, wow, that's really cool there. I consider that blasting the real, like, fast, like, you know, I think it's you're hitting this. Is it the snare you're hitting?
Yeah. It's blast beat. It's like 16th notes on you know, on the ride and on the snare, with 8th notes on the kick. It's you know, just a basic blast beat rhythm, which of course is not that common in heavy metal, but I mean, it fit right in.
Axis! All right, so guys, we're missing the most important part. We're missing the release date of Battle Ballads. When can people buy Battle Ballads?
You can pre-order it now already at metalblade.com/Tyr. It will be released on the 12th of April. Available in all nice book album stores.
Now, will you guys be selling that on the road on your upcoming North American tour that's coming up?
We're not sure yet, but we certainly hope so, yes.
Wow. Yeah. So now
Uh,
Joe's gonna see you on the first day. So could you sell it to him illegally?
No, no.
Look, if we have it, it'll be legal. If we have it there, it'll definitely be for sale. I'm just not sure they will have it produced and shipped by then. If there's any way we can do that, we will do it.
Oh
Yeah.
wow, okay. Oh, that's all. So it comes down to an actual production issue of the physical of the CDs being printed and everything. And wow, okay.
Yeah.
It's nice to know for everybody out there when you record, for those who are not musicians, when you record an album, the time from when you're done making the album and till the album comes out is a very, very long time. And for us, sometimes we almost forgot we made an album. It takes
Yeah.
really long
You
time.
need major record companies. They need at least 6 to 9 months from the point you handed them the master with all the artwork and everything done till the release date. But of course it doesn't really take that long to produce it, but they have to schedule all their bands. They have new stuff, especially now after COVID. Everybody wants to get something out there, so it's like standing in line.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So I'm just curious now, when you guys now, Tad, what you're saying, it takes a year and a half to make the full album. So when you go on the road to promote that album, do you
6 to 9 months. So not
Six-
not 1.
well 6 to 9 months, but like, okay, so when you played those songs live, do you tweak some things? You're like, I wish I did this in the studio. Let's do this part live. Let's play it like that. Or do you play it just tit for tat like the album?
Tip for tat.
Here often sometimes asks me to stick more to the version on the album, and I respect that, but I have to admit I'm not doing that all the time. But I mean,
I noticed.
You did. Oh no,
No.
but of course these songs, these we wrote them together, so I don't think I'm gonna deviate from it that much. So maybe in very, very minute detail, but not really.
And Hans, is there anything you would change if you could go back and record this album again?
I mean, the only thing is I was not completely happy with the solo in Axis. But now after it's been released, I'm actually fine with it. I think it does what it should do in that song. So no, not really. I think it turned out the way it should be.
You guys got a tour coming up in April, so let's talk about that for a minute. It's been a while since you guys been back to the States, right?
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about the States? Is it the food? Is it the strip clubs for you, Gunnar? What's your favorite things about it?
Well, let me tell you. I'll let you in on those secrets. Oh, I have a big crush on America when it comes to touring. It's an amazing country to tour in, because basically I think the country is made for it. It's basically made for touring. I absolutely love it. I love the people, but in general also the people. Everywhere you go in the world, you meet very, very cool people. But I always, since we started touring in America, it's a wonderful country and so diverse. I mean, you kind of see everything in that country when you drive around, and all kinds of landscapes that you can imagine you see in America. So it's quite an amazing place.
Now, is it tough for you guys, because you guys have a different time zone, to travel all the way to the US and then start work? Like, I know you guys are real Vikings in real life. We saw that from your video. Do you guys get messed up from, like, the time changes? You're like, shit, I'm so tired. It's 2 a.m. in the Faroe Islands, but I got to play an hour set. How do you guys get energized for that?
Personally, for me, not when we travel over. It's very often when I get home again. I get this jet lag thing, I guess. But traveling over, I don't feel anything really.
No, really. I mean, if we're traveling from here to the East Coast, it's it's 5 hours difference. There's not really that much. I mean, we really had a tough time touring Australia. That was hard. I mean, we going east all the way. I mean, I remember I had between sound check and the show, I had to lay down every day because I was not having it. I was almost on the brink of collapse every day because I didn't get any good night's sleep, and I guess the guys were similar in that.
Oh,
Okay, sorry. It was me. It was me. I couldn't.
Huey, what about you? How do you handle time changes on the road? I mean, you're the singer, so everybody wants to talk to you and hang out with you, and you're like, Tad's saying, I have to sleep, sorry guys, I can't sign your autographs, like how do you handle with the time
No.
changes here?
The first time we flew to America, I felt properly ill for a week, but the next few times we've been there many times, it gets easier and easier. And well, it's a long time ago now since we were there. Australia was hard. Let's see how it goes to America this time. But the last few times we were there, it was pretty easy. You get used to it. You know what to expect, and you just deal with it. I sleep a lot. I like it if I can get straight off stage and to bed. I go easy on myself, and I'm pretty. I'm not very sociable. I don't like to hang out with people that much. I like to get a lot of downtime, and especially sleep is good for the voice. Rest and sleep. That's what I prefer to do.
Now, Hans, is this your first time going to America with them? Hans,
It
will this
is,
be your
yes.
first time? What are your expectations from this tour?
I don't really know. I'm just very excited to go there, of course. Not really that interested in food in general, so it's probably just to see all these places that I've seen in the movies and and stuff like that. I didn't really have a problem with the time zones when we went to Australia. It was actually pretty easy. I was very tired when we got to Australia, but figured a way to get in a nice rhythm there immediately. So,
Wow.
so I'm expecting that it will be kind of similar in the US.
So, Hans, what's your pre-ritual then? What do you do before you get on the stage? I mean, tune your guitar, hanging out. I know Tad's probably banging on a drum pad. Gunner's
I'm
like looking on his phone, sending emails to all these beautiful women who want to see him after the show. I mean,
I probably smoke way too many cigarettes, and that's something I have to stop doing.
Are you still smoking?
It is.
Yeah, unfortunately. So maybe when I get to the US, I have stopped smoking and need to figure out a new thing to do before shows.
Harry, what about you? Pre-show ritual. Do you go in the back and go, la, 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 la? Do you do your vocal warm-ups and annoy the shit
I
out
do
of
the.
Gunner?
I don't know who I annoy. I probably do annoy them, but I never ask anyone, and I don't care. I have to do it. I have to warm up my voice, and I do some guitar warm-ups as well. That's really all. I try to drink plenty of water long before the show, and do some exercise during the day. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Gunner, are you just showing pictures on your phone? Like, look what this girl sent me. She wants to see me after the show. And you're like, Gunner, damn it, stop being fucking handsome, Gunner.
I could do that all day long. Usually at the beginning of a tour, if there's been a long time between tours, I will pretty much sit and noodle around on the bass for a very long time. The further we get into to tours, you get in a very, very good shape. So you don't need to do as much. As much.
You said ass.
And I like to be prepared, warmed up. So but anyway, I love to sit and just play bass. I really, really love to just sit and play all day long. Wow. So if I don't get to do that much at home, so I use the tours for that.
Tell us a little bit about the VIP package. Will Gunner perform with his shirt on or off? That's what the people really want to know.
Off.
That's
That
Gunner, you gotta
that's
stop doing it. People want their money back.
No, don't worry about it. I'll just take the pants off. No shirt.
look, if people pay enough, but I warn you, it's very expensive. Gunnar will take his shirt off. Look, we're going to people get early access to the venue with the VIP package, and we'll play some acoustic songs for people. We'll sign people's stuff if they bring it. We have exclusive postcard that we're making that we will also sign for people. That will not be for sale on the regular merch store or merch stand. And we will take pictures with people, and people will get a VIP pass on the lanyard, and they will get access to the merch stand before doors open, so they can buy in peace and quiet. That's about it, and you can go to tyr.fo/VIP to book that, and it's sold out already in some places, so you'll see that on the drop-down menu where you select the date you want to buy a VIP ticket for.
Hey guys, look, man, I'm gonna see you guys in Chicago. I will try to be there early because I like the Reggie's restaurant, so I hope to see you guys in person. And I'm crossing my fingers that Gunnar will throw his shirt off and I'll catch it in the audience. And well, all right, Joe. Well, listen, let's let these fine gentlemen go. Hans, it was incredibly nice to meet you. Here, thank you guys so much for this opportunity. This has been fantastic.
My pleasure, man.
Dad,
My pleasure.
Dad, I'm gonna keep stalking you on Instagram and follow your videos and follow you. And Gunnar, you are still in my heart, Gunnar. You know that. Right next.
Thank you.
I'm really excited for the new album. Axis is great. So everybody at home, please follow these guys. Go see them on tour, and buy Gunnar a hamburger or a cheeseburger when you see him, or a nice beer. So.
Mashed potatoes are great.